Princess Yura stood in the command center of her warship, her forearms crossed tightly against her silver chest. Her violet eyes burned with anger as she read the orders on her screen for the third time. She hoped the words would change. They did not. "This is an insult," she said through clenched teeth, her second in command. A tall reptilian officer named Vorin tilted his head. "Your Highness? High Command is sending us a human." She spat the word like poison. "A rookie. They want me to take this creature on our mission to Morris 7. Vorin's scales shifted to a pale yellow, showing his surprise. "A human? On a Death World mission? They will not survive the first night." "Exactly." Yura turned away from the screen. "This is politics. Someone wants to embarrass me. Someone wants the Fang unit to fail." The Fang unit was her pride. 20 of the deadliest warriors from 12 different species. They had completed 47 missions without a single failure. They were legends. And now High Command wanted her to babysit a soft, weak, pathetic human. She knew about humans. Everyone in the galaxy knew about humans. They were the newest species to join the Galactic Coalition. Discovered only 60 years ago on a small blue planet at the edge of nowhere, they had no claws, no fangs, no venom, no telepathy, no natural armor. They could not see in the dark. They could not smell danger. They could not hear enemy heartbeats from a distance. They were, by every measure, the weakest intelligent species ever recorded. "When does this human arrive?" Vorin asked. "Tomorrow morning." Yura walked to the window and stared at the stars. "Prepare a supply roll for him. Rear position. Far from combat. If he must die, let him die quietly without taking any of my real soldiers with him." The next morning, Yura stood in the landing bay with her unit assembled behind her. 19 warriors. Some had scales. Some had fur. Some had skin that shifted colors. Some had extra limbs or eyes or mouths. All of them were killers. All of them had proven themselves in blood. The shuttle door opened with a hiss of steam. A single figure walked out. Yura's first thought was disappointment. The human was so small. He stood barely 6 feet tall, nothing compared to her 8-foot frame. His skin was a simple brown color. His hair was black and cut short. His eyes were dark and showed nothing. No emotion, no fear, no excitement. He carried no visible weapons. Just a worn bag over one shoulder. He stopped in front of her and gave a small bow. "Kung Tae-ho, reporting for duty." His voice was quiet, flat, like he was reading words from a paper. Yura looked down at him with all the contempt she could show. "I am Princess Yura of the Velith Dominion. I command the Fang unit. You will address me as Commander or Your Highness. You will follow every order without question. You will stay in the rear. You will carry supplies. You will not engage in combat. Do you understand?" "Yes, Commander." No argument. Dull. No pride. No reaction at all. Behind her, some of her soldiers laughed quietly. A massive four-armed warrior named Groth stepped forward and poked Taeho's chest with one thick finger. "So soft," Groth said with a grin. "I could break you with one hand, little human." Taeho looked up at the warrior who was 3 times his size. His expression did not change. "Maybe." Groth laughed louder. "Maybe you admit it?" "I admit many things are possible." Something about the answer made Groth's laugh fade. He stepped back, suddenly unsure why he felt uncomfortable. Yura noticed this, but pushed the thought away. "Vorin, show the human to his quarters. The smallest room. We leave for Morris 7 at dawn." As the crowd broke apart, another human stepped forward. He was older, with gray in his hair and scars on his face. Lieutenant Daesung. He was the only other human in the Fang unit, and he had earned his place through 10 years of service. Daesung walked beside Taeo as they left the landing bay. He said nothing until they were alone in the corridor. "You're from Earth," Daesung said. It was not a question. "Yes." "Which sector?" Taeho was quiet for a moment. 14. Daesung stopped walking. His face went pale. "Sector 14. The collapse zone?" "Yes." That zone was quarantined. 40,000 people trapped inside. Only 11 walked out. I know. Daesung studied the young man's face. He saw the emptiness now. He understood it. How old were you when the walls went up? 6. How old when you got out? 18. 12 years in hell? Daesung had heard stories about what happened inside those walls. Warlords, cannibals, things that used to be human, but forgot how. He had nightmares just from the stories. This man had lived it. Does the princess know? Daesung asked. No. And I would like to keep it that way. Why? Taeho finally looked at him. For just a moment, something flickered in those empty eyes. Something old and tired and dangerous. It's because I am tired of being looked at like a monster. That night, Ura could not sleep. She walked through her ship, checking systems, reviewing mission plans. She found herself on the observation deck without meaning to go there. She was not alone. Tae-Ho stood at the window, staring into the void of space. He did not turn when she entered. He did not react at all. She walked up beside him. You should be resting. Moro 7 will test even the strongest warriors. I do not sleep much. No, the answer was too quick. Too simple. Most beings would lie. Most beings would pretend to be brave. This human did not even bother. You will likely die on Mora 7, Ura said. The planet is filled with predators. The Kreth alone have killed thousands of soldiers. You have no claws. No armor, no weapons. What do you think you can do against such creatures? Taeho turned his head slightly. The starlight caught his eyes, and for a moment they looked like black holes, empty, endless. I know what dying looks like, Commander. I have seen it many times. I have caused it many times. Death does not scare me anymore. He turned and walked away, leaving Ura alone with the stars. She told herself the chill she felt was from the cold air. She almost believed it. The dropship broke through the red clouds of Mora 7 like a knife through flesh. Inside, the Fang unit sat in silence. Even the bravest warriors felt fear on a death world. Yora stood at the front, her 4 hands gripping weapons. 2 plasma pistols. 2 curved blades. She had killed 100 enemies with these weapons. She would kill 100 more today if needed. Listen carefully, she said to her unit. Mora 7 is classified as a Category 9 death world. The air is breathable, but thick with spores. The forests are black because the trees drink blood instead of water. The fog is red because of the iron particles in the atmosphere. And the wildlife wants to eat us. She paused to let that sink in. Our mission is simple. Enemy insurgents have built a hidden base somewhere in the northern mountains. They have information we need. We find the base. We take the information. We leave. No heroics. No risks. Stay together and stay alive. The ship landed hard. The doors opened. Red fog poured in like smoke. YURA led her unit into the black forest. The trees towered above them, their branches twisted like broken fingers. The ground was soft and wet. Strange sounds echoed in the distance. Growls, screams, things hunting other things. Taeho walked at the rear, carrying a supply pack twice his size. He said nothing. He showed nothing. He simply walked, his eyes moving constantly, watching the shadows. Daesung walked near him. Stay close to me when trouble comes. I can handle myself. No. That is why I want you close. These aliens do not understand what you are. When they see what you can do, they will have questions. Let me handle them. Taeho nodded slightly, but said nothing more. 3 hours into the march, Vorin raised his fist. Everyone stopped. Movement, the reptilian whispered. 50 meters east. Multiple contacts. Yora's hearts beat faster. Formation Delta. Weapons ready. The unit moved into a defensive circle. 20 warriors facing outward. Ready for anything? The attack came from below. The ground exploded. Creatures burst from the dirt like nightmares given form. They were enemy soldiers mounted on Kreth, the apex predators of the galaxy. Kreth were monsters. 8 legs, armored scales that could stop plasma fire, jaws that could bite through steel. They stood 12 feet tall and weighed 2 tons each. They hunted by smelling fear. The more afraid you were, the more they wanted to eat you. And right now, fear filled the air like perfume. Chaos erupted. Plasma bolts flew in every direction. Warriors screamed. Kreth roared. The black forest lit up with fire and blood. Yura fought like the warrior she was. Her blades cut through one enemy rider. Her pistols burned holes in another. But there were too many. For every enemy she killed, 2 more appeared. She saw Groth, the massive 4-armed warrior, get dragged down by a Kreth. His screams ended with a wet crunch. She saw Vorin take a plasma bolt to the chest. He fell and did not move. Half her unit was dead in the first minute. Fall back. She screamed. Fall back to the ridge. But there was no ridge. There was no escape. The Kreth had surrounded them. 3 of the beasts cornered Yura against a massive tree. Their riders were dead, but that made them more dangerous. Wild Kreth were unpredictable, hungry. She raised her blades. She would die fighting. That was the Velith way. The first Kreth lunged. Something moved. Yura did not see where Teho came from. One moment there was empty air. The next moment the human was there, standing between her and death. He held only a short blade. 12 inches of simple steel. Nothing compared to her weapons. Nothing compared to the monster attacking him. The Kreth opened its massive jaws to swallow him whole. Teho did not run. He did not dodge. He stepped forward, directly into the attack. His body twisted in a way that should have been impossible. He slid under the creature's jaw, and his blade moved in a single perfect arc. Blood sprayed. Black blood. Hot and thick, the Kreth's throat opened like a door. The beast crashed to the ground, dead before it finished falling. Yura could not breathe. She had never seen anything move that fast, that precisely. That calmly the second Kreth hesitated. It lowered its head and sniffed the air. Searching for the fear scent that all prey produced, it found nothing. Teho stood in front of it, covered in black blood, his blade dripping. His breathing was normal. His hands were steady. His heart rate had not changed. There was no fear. The Kreth made a sound Yura had never heard before. A whimper. A sound of confusion and terror. It backed away. 1 step. 2 steps. Then it turned and ran into the forest. The third Kreth watched its packmate flee. It looked at Teho. It looked at the dead body of its companion. It made the same whimpering sound. Then it ran too. Silence fell over the battlefield. The surviving members of the Fang unit stared at the humans standing in the red fog. The enemy riders who remained alive looked at each other in shock. A Kreth had never run from prey. Never, in 10,000 years of recorded history. No creature had ever made a Kreth feel feared until now. Teho turned to Yura. His face was calm, empty, like he had just finished a simple task. "We should move, Commander. More are coming." Yura opened her mouth to speak, but no words came out. Her mind was broken. Everything she knew about humans, everything she believed about strength, all of it shattered in front of her eyes. Daesung appeared beside her. "Your Highness, he is right. We need to go now." She forced herself to move. Forced herself to give orders. Forced herself to act like a commander. But as they retreated through the black forest, she could not stop looking at the small human walking calmly beside her. He had no claws, no armor, no special abilities. Yet he had done what no warrior in history had done. He had made apex predators feel fear, and he had done it without even raising his heartbeat. What was this creature? What had Earth created? Yura did not know. But for the first time since receiving her mission orders, she was grateful the human had come. And for the first time in her life, she felt something she had never felt before. She felt small. The cave was dark and cold, but it was safe. For now, Yura counted her survivors. 9 warriors remained from her unit of 20. 9 out of 20. She had never lost so many in a single engagement. The shame burned in her chest like fire, but another feeling burned stronger. Curiosity. She could not stop thinking. What? About what she had seen. The human. The Kreth. The impossible moment when an apex predator turned and ran from a creature half its size. The survivors made camp in the deepest part of the cave. They set up energy barriers at the entrance. They tended to wounds. They mourned fallen friends. Tejo sat alone in a corner, far from the others. He was cleaning his blade with slow, careful movements. The black blood was gone now, but he kept cleaning anyway. Like a ritual. Like a prayer, Yura approached him. Her forearms hung at her sides. She was not armed. This was not a confrontation. This was something else. Human, she said. Te-Ho looked up. His empty eyes reflected the dim light. Tell me what you are. I am King Tejo, rookie, supply carrier. Do not lie to me. Her voice was harder now. I have fought beside the greatest warriors in the galaxy. I have seen champions of every species. None of them could do what you did. None of them could make a Kreth run. Tejo returned to cleaning his blade. I did not make it run. I simply gave it no reason to stay. Explain. Before Tejo could answer, Dasung walked over. The older human had been treating the wounded. His hands were stained with different colors of blood. Your Highness, Dasung said. Perhaps I can explain. Yura turned to him. Then explain. What is he? Some kind of experiment? A secret weapon? No, he is just a human. Dasung sat down on a rock. His old bones cracked with the movement. But not all humans are the same. Just like not all Velith are warriors. Not all humans are soft. I have studied your species. Your records. You evolved as endurance hunters. You have no natural weapons. You survive through tools and numbers. That is the official story. The polite version, Dasung's eyes grew distant. But Earth is not a gentle place, Your Highness. And some parts of Earth are worse than death worlds. Told her about the collapse. 30 years ago, Earth's global systems failed. Governments fell. Cities burned. In the chaos, certain regions were sealed off. Quarantine zones. Collapse zones. The people inside were left to survive on their own. 40 zones across the planet. Millions of people trapped. The coalition did not help. They watched from orbit, curious to see how the weak humans would handle disaster. They expected quick collapse. Mass death, extinction. They were wrong. Inside the zones, humanity showed its true nature. Not the soft, civilized version the galaxy knew. The other version. The ancient version. The version that had hunted mammoths with sharpened sticks. The version that had survived ice ages and plagues and wars. The version that refused to die no matter how hard the universe tried to kill it. The zones became hell. Warlords rose. Gangs formed. The strong ate the weak. Children learned to kill before they learned to read. Every day was a war. Every night was a hunt. 10 years later, the zones were reopened. The coalition expected to find corpses. Instead, they found survivors. Not many. Most zones had survival rates below 1%. But those who lived were changed. Transformed by suffering into something new. Something the galaxy had never seen. Tejo was born in Sector 14, Dasung said quietly. The worst zone. 40,000 people went in. 11 came out. Kira felt her hearts go cold. 11 out of 40,000? Yes, she looked at Tejo. He had stopped cleaning his blade. He sat perfectly still, staring at nothing. What happened inside? She asked. Dasung shook his head. We do not ask them that. The survivors do not talk about it. The psychologists say their trauma is beyond measurement. They have seen things that would break most species instantly. They have done things that would destroy most minds. Then how do they function? They do not feel fear anymore. Not because they are brave. Because they have already experienced the worst things possible. Everything after the zone is just noise. Their nervous systems are burned out. Their stress responses are dead. They walk through nightmares like other people walk through gardens. Ura understood now. The Kreth, hunted by fear scent. They tracked the chemicals that prey released when terrified. But Teho released nothing. His body produced no fear signals. To the Kreth, he was not prey. He was a void, an absence. Something that should not exist. And that void terrified them. There is more, Daesong continued. In the zones, the survivors became hunters. Not like your warriors who fight with honor and rules. Survival hunters. They learned to kill efficiently, silently, without emotion. They learned to use fear as a weapon against those who felt it. They became predators of predators. Yura turned back to Teho. Is this true? He finally looked at her. For a moment, the emptiness cracked. Something appeared beneath it. Pain. Old, deep, endless pain. I had a sister, he said. His voice was different now, softer, human. Her name was Sue. She was 4 years younger than me. When the walls went up, I swore I would protect her. I killed my first man when I was 12. He tried to take her. I used a piece of broken glass. He paused. The cave was silent. Even the other survivors had stopped moving to listen. For 6 more years, I kept her alive. I did things I cannot speak of. I became something I cannot name. But I kept her safe. Until the last year, until the warlord came. His hand tightened on his blade. She did not make it out. I did. And every day since then, I've wished I had died instead. Yura stood frozen. She was a princess, a warrior, a commander. She had seen death and pain across 100 worlds, but she had never seen anything like this. This broken human carrying an ocean of grief inside a body that had forgotten how to cry. Why do you fight? She asked. If you wish for death, why not let it come? Teho stood up. He slid his blade into its sheath, because my sister would be angry. She wanted me to live, so I live. Even when it hurts. Even when I want to stop. I live. He walked toward the cave entrance, toward the darkness outside. Where are you going? Yura demanded. To watch. The Kreth will come back. They always do. And when they come, I will be ready. He disappeared into the shadows. Yura watched him go. Her contempt was gone. Her prejudice was gone. All that remained was a strange, heavy feeling in her chest. Respect. And something else she could not name. Something like sorrow. The red fog thickened as night fell on Mora 7. The black trees seemed to grow. Taller in the darkness. Strange sounds filled the forest. Growls, howls, the wet sound of things eating other things. Inside the cave, the survivors prepared for the worst, while Yura checked her weapons for the 10th time. Her hands moved automatically while her mind raced. The Kreth would return. She knew it. They were pack hunters. When one of their own died, the rest came for revenge. And they had killed 2 Kreth today. Movement on the sensors, one of her soldiers reported. Multiple contacts. Large. How many? 12. Possibly more. Yura's blood went cold. 12 Kreth. A full hunting pack. Her 9 remaining warriors could not fight that many. Not in the open. Not even with the cave as cover. Defensive formation, she ordered. We hold the entrance. We make them pay for every inch. Her soldiers moved into position. They were afraid. She could see it in their eyes, smell it in their sweat. But they were warriors. They would die fighting if necessary. Teho appeared from the shadows outside the cave. He walked calmly to the entrance and looked at the assembled defenders. Stand aside, he said. Why, you are a step forward. What are you doing? I am going out there. That is suicide. There are 12 Kreth. Even you cannot fight 12. Teho tilted his head slightly. I will not fight them. Then what? He pulled out his short blade. The steel caught the dim light from the energy barriers. I will hunt them. Yura grabbed his arm with 2 of her hands. Listen to me, human. I was wrong about you. I admit that. You are not what I thought. But this is madness. You cannot hunt apex predators alone in the dark. Teho looked at her hand on his arm. Then he looked at her face. Something almost like warmth flickered in his empty eyes. Commander, in my zone, the worst predators were not animals. They were humans. Men who had lost everything that made them human. They hunted in the dark. They killed for pleasure. They made the Kreth look like puppies. He gently removed her hand. I survived them. I killed them. For 12 years, I was the thing that monsters checked their shadows for. Trust me now. Let me do what I was made to do. Before she could respond, he walked out of the cave and vanished into the red fog. Daesoon appeared beside Yura. Let him go. He will die. No. They will. The first hour passed in silence. The sensor showed the Kreth circling the cave, searching for a weak point. Then one of the signals disappeared. What happened? Yura demanded. Unknown. The signal just stopped. Another signal disappeared. Then another. On the sensor screen, the Kreth pack began to move erratically. They were no longer circling. They were scattering, running in different directions. Then the sound started. Howls of pain echoed through the forest. Not the howls of hunting beasts. The howls of wounded animals. The howls of creatures experiencing something they had never felt before. Fear. Why you are a Y. Grabbed a plasma rifle and moved toward the cave entrance. I am going out there. Commander, that is not wise, one of her soldiers said. I need to see. She stepped outside the energy barrier and into the fog. The forest was chaos. She could hear the Kreth crashing through the trees, their massive bodies breaking branches. She could hear their panicked cries. She could smell their blood. She found the first body 50 meters from the cave. A Kreth lay dead against a tree. Its throat had been cut from ear to ear. The wound was precise. Surgical. One cut. Placed exactly where the armor was weakest. The beast's eyes were still open. They were filled with terror. Yura moved deeper into the forest. She found another body. This one had been killed from above. Something had dropped onto its back and driven a blade through the small gap between its skull and spine. Instant death. A third body. Fourth. Each one killed with impossible precision. Each one wearing an expression of pure fear. Then she heard it. A Kreth was nearby. She could hear its massive legs moving through the undergrowth. But the movement was wrong. Too slow. Too careful, she climbed a tree and watched from above. The Kreth was hiding. One of the most dangerous predators in the galaxy was hiding behind a rock formation. Its 8 legs tucked beneath its body like a frightened child. Its armored head swung back and forth, searching the shadows. A shape moved in the fog. Tahoe appeared like a ghost. He was covered in black blood from head to toe. His blade hung at his side, dripping. He walked slowly, calmly, directly toward the hiding Kreth. The beast saw him. It made that whimpering sound Yura had heard before. It tried to back away, but there was nowhere to go. Teho stopped 3 meters from the creature. He looked up at its massive form. A human facing a monster 20 times his weight. Run, he said. The Kreth ran. It burst from its hiding spot and crashed through the forest, howling in terror. It did not look back. It did not stop. It ran until Yura could no longer hear its footsteps. Teho stood alone in the clearing. The fog swirled around him like a cloak. Yura climbed down from her tree and approached him. Up close, she could see the cost of his hunt. His arms were shaking slightly. His breath was ragged. Exhaustion pulled at his features. But his eyes were still empty. Still calm. How many? She asked. 10 dead. 2 escaped. He swayed slightly. They will not return. They will warn others. The Kreth will avoid this region for years. He killed 10 Kreth alone. Yes, that is impossible. He looked at her. For a moment, the emptiness cracked again. I told you, Commander. I am what Earth made. We are not strong because we have claws or venom. We are strong because we refuse to stop. We adapt. We endure. We keep coming until our enemies break. He took one step toward the cave. Then he collapsed. YURA caught him before he hit the ground. His body was limp, completely drained. He had pushed himself beyond human limits. Beyond any limits, she carried him back to the cave in her forearms. He weighed almost nothing. This small, broken creature who had just done the impossible. Her soldiers stared as she entered with him. They had been watching on the sensors. They had seen the Kreth die one by one. They had seen a predator become prey. Is he alive? Daesung asked, rushing forward. Yes. Exhausted. She laid Taeho gently on a makeshift bed. His face was peaceful in unconsciousness, almost innocent. Yuru stood over him for a long moment. I have fought beside the greatest warriors in the galaxy, she said quietly. Champions, legends, heroes of 1,000 battles.
Else.
She looked at her soldiers. None of them compared to this human. No one argued. Outside, the forest was silent. The predators were gone. The night belonged to the survivors now, and somewhere in the darkness, the two remaining Kreth ran as fast as their 8 legs could carry them, fleeing from the memory of a human who did not know how to be afraid. The Coalition warship hung in orbit above Moro 7, its silver hull gleaming in the light of 3 distant suns. Inside the war room, officers from 12 different species sat in stunned silence. The mission footage played on the massive screen. Every helmet camera, every sensor log, every moment of the operation had been recorded. They watched Kung Taeho kill the first Kreth in the ambush. They watched the second beast hesitate and flee. They watched the night hunt, the systematic destruction of an entire apex predator pack by a single human armed with nothing but a small blade. When the footage ended, no one spoke. Admiral Korith, a massive being with stone-like skin and 6 eyes, finally broke the silence. This is verified? The recordings are authentic? Yes, Admiral, Yura answered. She stood at the front of the room in her formal uniform. I witnessed much of it myself. 1 human killed 10 Kreth. Yes. Alone. In the dark? On a death world? Yes. Korith sat back in his chair. His stone face showed no expression, but his voice carried something rare. Wonder. You've studied humans for 60 years. We classified them as a weak species. Fragile, unremarkable. How did we miss this? Because we only studied the soft ones, Yura said. The civilized humans, the ones who grew up in safety and comfort. We never looked at what Earth could truly create when survival demanded it. She pressed a button. The screen changed to show information about the collapse zones. Humans are not one thing. They are many things. Their species has incredible range. The same genetics that produce artists and philosophers can also produce perfect killers. When humans are pushed to the edge, some of them do not break. They transform. Another admiral spoke. A thin, insect-like being from the crystalline hives. This is concerning. If humans can produce such individuals, they could be dangerous to the Coalition. Dangerous? Yura felt anger rise in her chest. Did you not watch the footage? Kang Taeho used his abilities to protect Coalition soldiers. He saved my life. He saved my entire unit. If he wanted to be dangerous, we would already be dead. The princess is correct, Daesung said. He stood beside Yura, his scarred face calm. Collapse zone survivors are not monsters. They are broken people who rebuilt themselves with whatever tools they had. Most of them just want peace. They want to be normal. They do not enjoy what they are. The room fell quiet again. Admiral Korith nodded slowly. Where is this human now? Recovering in medical bay, Yura said. He exhausted himself during the hunt. The doctors say he pushed his body far beyond safe limits. He should have died from the strain alone, but he did not. Humans have remarkable endurance. Their bodies can survive damage that would kill most species, and their will can push them even further. Korith stood up. His massive form cast a shadow across the entire room. I want to see him. Medical bay was quiet. Soft lights. Clean walls. The smell of healing agents in the air. Tae-Ho lay on a bed, connected to several machines that monitored his vitals. His eyes were closed, but he was not sleeping. He sensed people approaching. When he opened his eyes, he saw Princess Yura, Lieutenant Dae-sung, and a stone giant he did not recognize. He tried to sit up. His body screamed in protest. Yura said quickly, "You do not need to move." "Who is this?" Taeho asked, looking at the stone being. "Admiral Korath, Supreme Commander of the Coalition's 7th Fleet." Taeho blinked. An admiral. Coming to see a rookie. That was strange. Korath studied him with all 6 eyes. "You are Kung Taeho, the human who made Kreth run." "I am just a supply carrier, Admiral. Do not be modest. I watched the footage. What you did has never been done before. In 10,000 years of galactic history, no single warrior has ever defeated a Kreth pack alone. You are remarkable." Taeho shook his head slightly. "I am not remarkable. I am just broken in a useful way." Korath made a sound that might have been a laugh. "Broken? No. Forged? There's a difference. Weak things break and stay broken. Strong things break and become sharper." He leaned closer. "The Coalition needs warriors like you, not just fighters, hunters. People who can face the darkness without flinching. Whatever rank you hold, whatever role you were given, it is no longer appropriate. I am promoting you." Taeho frowned. "Admiral, I do not want promotions. I do not want attention. I just want to do my job quietly." "I know, and I respect that." Korath straightened. "But the galaxy is dangerous, Kong Taeho. Enemies gather at every border. Wars are coming. We need people who can do impossible things. We need you to train others. To teach them what you know. I cannot teach what I know. It requires suffering that no one should experience. Then advise, consult, help us understand what humans truly are." Korath placed a massive hand on Taeho's shoulder. "Your people are young. The galaxy does not respect you yet. But after today, that will change. You have shown us something we did not expect, and we will remember." He turned and walked out of the medical bay. His heavy footsteps echoed until they faded to silence. Yura remained behind. She stood beside Taeho's bed, her forearms folded. "He is right, you know." Taeho looked at her. "About what?" "Everything. You are not broken. You are forged. And you have changed things today. Not just for yourself. For all humans." She reached into her uniform and pulled out a small medallion. Silver metal, shaped like a fang. The symbol of her unit. "This is given only to true members of the Fang unit. Warriors who have proven themselves beyond all doubt." She placed it in his hand. "You earned this 10 times over." Taeho looked at the medallion. "Such a small thing. Such a heavy meaning. I do not deserve this." "Yes, you do." Yura sat on the edge of his bed. For the first time, she looked not like a princess or a commander, but like a person. "I misjudged you, Kong Taeho. I saw your species and assumed I knew what you were. I was arrogant. Foolish. You are not wrong. Most humans are weak." "No, most humans have not been tested. There is a difference." She smiled slightly. "I have a new theory about your species. Shall I share it?" "Please. Humans are not prey animals who think they are predators. You are predators who forgot what you were. Your civilization made you soft, comfortable, safe, but the predator is still inside, waiting. And when the world strips away the softness, the predator wakes up." She looked at him with her violet eyes. "You are not the exception, Kong Taeho. You are the truth. Every human has a hunter inside them. Most will never meet it. But for those who do, the galaxy should be afraid." Taeho was quiet for a long moment. Then something happened that Yura did not expect. He smiled. It was small, brief, more like a ghost of what a smile should be. But it was real. "My sister used to say something similar," he said. "She said humans were like fire, dangerous when wild. But when controlled, we could light up the entire universe." She sounds wise. She was the best part of me. Ura reached out and took his hand. Her silver skin against his brown skin. Two species connected by respect earned in blood, then honor her. Live well, fight well. And when the darkness comes, show it what humans are made of. Teho looked at their joined hands. For the first time in years, he did not feel alone.
I will try.
1 week later, Ura stood before the Coalition Assembly. Thousands of representatives from hundreds of worlds filled the great chamber. All of them had seen the footage. All of them had questions. She answered their questions with truth. She told them what she had witnessed, what she had learned, what humans truly were beneath their soft exterior. When she finished, she called Teho to the stage. He walked slowly, his body still recovering. He wore a simple uniform with no medals, no decorations, just the small fang medallion on his chest. He stood beside Ura, facing the assembly. "This man has no titles," she announced, her voice carrying across the chamber. "No glory. No reputation. He came to my unit as a rookie, a supply carrier, the lowest rank possible." She turned to face him. "But he taught apex predators the meaning of fear. He saved my life and the lives of my soldiers. He proved that strength is not measured in claws or venom or telepathy. It is measured in the refusal to stop, the will to keep fighting when all hope is gone." She crossed her forearms in the highest Velith salute, a gesture reserved for legendary warriors. "His name is Kang Teho, and the galaxy should remember it." One by one, the representatives rose. Species by species, world by world, they stood to honor the human rookie who had done the impossible. Teho stood in the center of it all, surrounded by thousands of beings who now looked at him with respect instead of contempt. He said nothing. He did not need to, but deep inside, in the place where his sister still lived in his memory, something warm flickered to life. It felt like peace, and for the first time in many years, Kang Teho allowed himself to believe that maybe, just maybe, life was worth living after all.